Hey guys, Jamiy, and today on Roblox we're playing some more Loomian Legacy, as you can see on the screen right now. And so today I got like a little bit of a different video, okay? It's kind of like a balanced video, but also I wanted to make it before the update came out because there's quite a lot that I have on my list that I want to release. Not all of it might not come out with the Sepharite update, but I thought I'd give you like a good like rundown now, also to get feedback, because also if something doesn't really seem right, you guys can let me know. And also like if it's too much of a nerf, like if it's not enough of a nerf, if it's too little of a buff, if it's too big of a buff, you guys can also let me know beforehand, and also I can like kind of tweak it before it actually comes out, and it isn't really like a problem. So like for example, Trumbull, when Trumbull came out, that was a big problem, remember that? Now it's a little bit better, but Trumbull is still very strong. So I guess we'll start off with the abilities then, which we've got quite, the 4 abilities I have wrote down are basically all buffs. So the abilities is going to be, the first one is going to be Overshadow, which is Umbrat's secret ability, and Luxor's secret ability, which also Illuminate and Overshadow. When the totem, or not when the totems, actually I think it was when the totems came out, or when the rallying came out, it was one of them. But basically, when that update came out, Illuminate and Overshadow would increase your dark or light type moves by 20%. Well, as you can tell, it changes like your Raging Howl from type plus to a light or a dark type, depending on which one you use, Umbra or Luxor. And it would also then give an extra 20% bonus. With the totem update, I thought it was like it'd be a little bit too strong, since you could run Smart and Brawny to get an extra 10%, but with Luxor and Umbra being like, no one runs them because the Eclipse is just so much better. And we're going to revert that change, so also they will nerf to 10%, they will get their original buff to 20% now, and on top of that they'll actually get another effect, which I think will be fairly good for them, and that is that both of these secret abilities will bypass Eclipse's secret ability. So also Eclipse's secret ability is Total Eclipse. Basically, if you hit this Loomian with a dark or a light type move, Eclipse won't take any damage, it'll absorb it, and it will increase its speed by 1 stage. Although with Overshadow and Illuminate, with this new change, they will bypass Eclipse's secret ability and like render it useless, so they can actually still hit it, which is going to be interesting as well, since also Eclipse is a dark and a light type. If you, I think it's Luminous Roar and what's the Umbrat's one again? Gloomfangs. Eclipse actually won't be able to use any light type moves or dark type moves, so it won't be able to use Luminous Roar. It'll be like limited to only running Raging Howl, since that doesn't change typing on Eclipse. So that's like the first 2 buffs, okay? I think those ones are pretty good. I don't think it'll immediately bring them both back into the meta game. Luxor will be pretty nice, but also with plants being immune to it now, it's going to be a little bit tougher to run it, although Obsidian's going to fear it 100%. Like, it might actually one-shot it, even like piling on all of the range defense, or very close at the very least. Umbra, I think, would actually get the most out of this usage, so that's actually that. And actually, I actually forgot, there's actually 5 abilities. There is another one that I forgot to write down on this list. Anyway, then that's the first 2 abilities. The next one we have is Staunch, which is also Himber's secret ability, which I actually don't have it on here. I have it low because I did it in a video recently, which is this one. If you don't know what it does, it's basically like Pokemon's Clear Body. Your stats don't get decreased, which I guess is a good ability, but for Himber specifically, it has Awakening. Why would you ever run this one when you can just do more damage? It has really good hitting moves, Earthquake, Yeti's Wrath, very hard hitting, so it's basically like a useless ability, especially for Himber. So with that being said, it's going to get another effect now. Well, again, like I said, just because I mentioned all these doesn't mean all of them be added. These are just like some things that I have in mind. I want feedback on them, basically. So then, for Staunch, I want to add an effect that will block certain moves like Ancient Roar. So for example, Ancient Roar decreases Himber's, or well, I guess the target's, anything's melee and range attacks, so both the attack stats by 1 stage. But what this will do is that if Zulong uses Ancient Roar, right now, the Zulong will still swap out, but Himber just won't lose any stats, but the Zulong will still use its energy. With this new change I want to do, if a Zulong, only right now it applies to Ancient Roar, but Ancient Roar, let's say Zulong Ancient Roars, you will not swap out anymore, you will still use your energy, and Himber will also not have its stats lowered, so it basically just completely counters Ancient Roar. This won't affect Flash and Flee, because Flash and Flee doesn't decrease stats. Flash and Flee just does a little bit of damage and then swaps out. So for people wondering, no, it won't block Flash and Flee, it'll only block Ancient Roar, which is just Zulong's signature move, so nothing else is going to get it. But let's say, like, for example, in future, like, we get another move like Ancient Roar, but something similar and different, I think that'll be a pretty good buff to it. And I guess right now it's only going to work for Ancient Roar, but I think that will be a pretty good buff right now. Just like give it a potentially like give you like an option to want to use it, but other than that low, I mean, you can still swap, so you don't have to worry about that, but it's just not really worth running the Staunch ability, especially on a Himber, since you have the Awakening. So that's basically Staunch, the buff that I want that. Next up then is Vengeance. This one actually is probably the bigger one, the biggest one. So right now it only works in doubles. I think actually only Revenine has it right now. Basically how it works is that if you're in doubles, you have your or 2v2s. If you have a Revenine, your teammate Loomian faints, your Revenine the next turn will do double damage just for that one turn. However, it was meant to work in singles as well. So for example, let's say I have my Himber on the field. If my Himber faints and then I bring up my Revenine, it was meant to do double damage for that one turn alone. So like it was meant to be like a really good revenge killer, although it doesn't actually work in singles. So the idea was to buff it so it would actually do that, and I guess like for another Pokemon like reference, I guess, or something that works similar, is the move Retaliate. But for this, it's like an ability version that will double any move, but only for one turn, as long as one of your own Loomians like faints, basically. So that's like the buff for that. And the last one, which again I forgot to write down, but I do remember it, so I'm kind of glad I did, which is Ragoon's ability buff, which again is another secret ability. So I think all of these are actually our secret abilities, but I mean, right now these are the only Loomians that get them. But anyway, for Ragoon's secret ability is Ability Thief. I've talked about this one quite a few times now, but basically right now, it's called Ability Thief, but it doesn't actually steal them, it just copies them, which I guess actually says in the description, copies the ability of your target. So basically right now, if I hit a Zulong with Awakening, the Zulong will keep Awakening, and my Ragoon will also get Awakening. If I swap out my Ragoon and then swap it back in, it will have Ability Thief again, so I can copy another ability. I have a complete like revamp for the ability. So basically, let's say that the Zulong has Awakening, my Ragoon has Ability Thief, I've just sent it into the field. I'm going to attack the Zulong, it makes contact with it. Instead of copying it, I permanently steal it for the rest of that one battle. So for example, my Ragoon will now have Awakening for the rest of the battle. Even if I swap it out and back in, it'll still keep Awakening. And now this Zulong will not have Awakening anymore, it'll get this new ability called Blank, which basically like has no ability, it doesn't do anything, it's like a useless ability. I think that'll be fine, I don't think it's be too busted, because also for competitive use, you're only allowed to bring one Ragoon. But I think it'll be pretty good, like for example, right now, especially in the game, there's not too many things that beat certain Loomians. Like for example, Luminami is kind of annoying, especially if you keep swapping out with its ability. Obsidian ability, again, Obsidian is very difficult to beat it, so if you can steal it, but only, like I said, you only get one chance to steal it, they can swap out, Ragoon does get chased down low, so you gotta be careful about that. So I think that'll still be fine though, because it only really like works once. And also Ragoon doesn't really want to use all of these abilities because its stats aren't exactly the best. It can hit kind of hard and it's kind of quick, but the rest of the stats are kind of meh, except from the melee defense, I guess. So I don't think it'll be busted since its stats aren't exactly the greatest, but I think that'll be a pretty good buff to Ragoon. So that's basically abilities then now. Onto the moves then. So I've got actually a lot of moves that I'll say, mostly just like buffs and like nerfs for like energy cost. So for example, I guess we'll talk about just the buster. So Pester is going to get buffed from 50 energy to 32. Flash and Flee, I will talk about this one. It was originally going to get buffed from 50 energy to 35, but I think that's too much. I'm not too sure about Flash and Flee. Let me know in the comments down below. Some people want me to buff it, some people just want me to leave it, because again, it's not meant to be like a move that you really should be spamming. It's meant to be like meant to give like an opportunity to like swap out, obviously. But like, for example, Luminami can like take the hit and then swap out. It's meant to be for pivoting, not for like damage or like energy effectiveness. So I might nerf it, or like I might buff it a little bit, but not too much. So like maybe like 40, something like that. I think 35 might be a bit too much, but let me know in the comments. Next up we have is Chase Down. I think Chase Down right now is like the most broken move, especially since also like your soul basically kills, whatever your Luminami is weak to, your soul can take it out. If it's a plant type, Chase Down is super effective against it. You can basically use your soul to just wipe out everything that Luminami is weak to and have Luminami clean up the game. That's basically how it works. So for right now, gonna nerf it a little bit from 25 energy to 35 energy, see how that plays, although your soul is still gonna be able to use that effectively because your soul has a lot of energy, because it's the used moves are priority, which are very cost effective. But I think the the energy nerf on that one will be a little bit better for it. Next up is Ancient Raw, like I said, with the Staunch ability, having that secondary effect for, right now, specifically Ancient Raw. I think this is a pretty good change. The nerf, well, I guess it's a buff, will go from 70 to 50. This means that you can actually use it in conjunction with Thunderstrike and Elemental Burst. So, for example, Elemental Burst is 48 energy, Thunderstrike is 50 energy, and on also right now, it is 70 for Ancient Raw, but it'll be 50. So also for starters, if you give them 20 TPs in energy at level 50 battles, which is the competitive battle level, you'll have like 250 energy across all of the starters, because every starter has the same energy stat. So that means Zulong can actually use Thunderstrike 5 times, or Elemental Burst 5 times, or Ancient Raw 5 times. It basically goes pretty nicely together. 70 was a little bit too much. The only reason why also it was really busted on Zulong because nothing else bet it, and nothing could really deal with it really, like when the game first came out, so that's why it initially got like a nerf for it. But I think now is like a good chance to like buff it back up to where it was originally, and I think it should be fine. So there's that for Ancient Raw. Next up is Storm Summoning, which actually is again Zulong's signature move, which also Stozap actually gets. That was actually, well, that again was like nerfed pretty heavily, so right now it's actually 75 energy. I don't have the Stozap with the move with Storm Summon, but basically what happens is it will hit everything on the field, and it has a, believe, originally it was meant to have a 50% chance to paralyze everything. I don't remember where it is anymore though. I think it might be 25%, but I think it might still be 50. So basically it's kind of like, I guess, Dark Void, but instead of hitting your opponents, it will also hit your teammates. So that will go from 75 energy down to 46, and also again you might be able to run it in like doubles, and then also it'll be nice again for the starters. Competitive levels being 50 with the 250 energy margin that you have basically. So I think that'll be pretty nice for Zulong. I can't really see people really running Storm Surge. I mean, even in doubles, Earthquake is still a pretty big threat for it. Other than that though, we have another starters moves, which is Rapid Fire on Seer Knight. Again, the moveset right now for Seer Knight is basically this. And if you don't want Chase Down, you can run Power Focus. Like I said, Chase Down's kind of busted, and in most like tournaments, people ban it really. So I think Rapid Fire would be a pretty good buff. I've gotten requested quite a bit to like buff it a little bit. If you don't know, Rapid Fire is a range attacking move that Seer Knight's middle form gets, Raburn. Also, Seer Knight isn't a range attacker, it's a melee attacker, so it's not exactly that helpful for it. Although, it basically what it does, it fires 3 firebolts at the opponent, and it has a 5% chance to burn on every single one of those hits. So you get a 5% chance, a 5% chance, and another 5% chance. With this buff, you're basically just buffing the burn chance to be 10%, then 10%, and then another 10%. So it basically has like a pretty good chance to burn, and that would actually help Seer Knight out a lot, just for the fact that, again, it's not really going to want to use a move, but if it wants to go for like the chance to get a burn, I think that should be fine on it. I think that could help Seer Knight out a little bit. Seer Knight is pretty good though, although it does struggle right now, especially with like all of the Boroks running rampant, I guess. So that's an idea that I had for it. I think that one is fine. Next up, I think is one of actually the biggest ones we've been waiting for, is Impersonate, which Icicle gets, if you don't know. Basically how it works is that, I think it's actually like Pokemon's Follow Me, not Follow Me, Me First. So basically, if I use my Icicle's Impersonate against a Zulong that is going to use Elemental Burst on me, it's a priority move, I will copy Elemental Burst, and I will use Elemental Burst before the Zulong does it. Although that's all it does. Also, I should mention, Impersonate right now is +1 priority. I also have another buff for that as well in mind, which I'll talk about in a minute. So basically, what it's going to do is it's going to do the exact same thing, but it's going to increase the power level by 50%. So basically giving like a good stab bonus, or just a little, I guess like double stab. So also with Icicle, since it has terrible range attack, even if you do copy the Elemental Burst, you're going to do like 5 damage. It's only really usable for like melee attacks that you copy. So I think the damage is pretty good, especially things, for example, most Loomians right now only really run stab moves. So for example, Seer Knight. If Seer Knight goes for a Searing Steel on my Icicle, which they really should, by the way, if you see an Icicle and you have Seer Knight, don't click Flaming Kick. But if they use Searing Steel, I impersonate it, use it against itself. Well, it's fine, Seer Knight quad resists Steel, because it's a metal and a fire type. Whereas if you use a Flaming Kick, if I impersonate that, I can actually hit it for neutral damage, because also Seer Knight is weak to fire with metal, but resists fire with its fire typing. So can actually hit it fairly hand with that. So basically the Impersonate just gets like a little bit of a damage buff. And on top of that, like I said, right now Impersonate is only +1 priority. So for example, since Icicle is very slow, if you go against a Ursol with Shadow Sprint, that Shadow Sprint will actually outspeed your Impersonate when it shouldn't be like that. The Icicle Impersonate should always go first, so it's going to get like a higher level of priority as well, just to like make sure that actually works as intended. So that is it for Impersonate. Next up we have Spectral Bursts. It's just buffing it from 45 energy to 40 energy, just to make it a little bit, maybe like some Loons can use it like one more time before they run out of energy. Again, level 50. Level 100, like, you don't have to worry about energy at all. It's mostly, when I'm talking about these, they mostly for like level 50 battles, for competitive battles. That's what we do for competitive battles. Next up is Geyser, which we're going to buff the energy from 50 to 40, since only Ventation gets it, and Ventation has very low energy. I wish these dogs would stop barking. Bark, bark. So that's basically it for Geyser, just to get like a 10 energy reduce. Next up plan is Jungle Jutsu, which is actually, I've been wanting to change this for a while. I just didn't really know what to do about it, so I think this is fine, which I still don't really know which one I want to do, so let me know in the comments down below. Jungle Jutsu, should I remove the critical hit chance or the flinch chance? I want to remove one of them, not both of them, just one. I don't know which one to do low. Jungle Jutsu is already a hard-hitting move, like, it's the hardest hitting brawler type move in the game once it opens. I mean, it's 90 base power. The energy could get like a small buff as well for it, since also it's losing the flinch or the crit. I don't know which one I want to remove low, to be honest. Again, I'm asking you guys. I might just leave it for now and like maybe come back to it later, but let me know in the comments down below which is like more annoying, the critical one or the flinch one. Personally for me, I would go for the flinch one, but I think the flinch is like worth keeping, so I'm more leaning towards the critical hit one, to be honest, for Tatab at the very least. So that's basically for Tatab. For Jungle Jutsu is that I want to remove one of the secondary effects. I don't know which one. If we do remove one of them, I'll probably buff the energy a little bit. Okay. Next up plan, we have a Disarmed Chant, which is one of Muchun's moves, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I have it low. No, I don't. But basically, that's just going to get a buff from 45 energy to 40, just so maybe Muchun can use it like one more turn, because honestly, again, energy is a pretty big problem with it. It only has 75 base, and also a lot of its moves are very costly. So that's it for Dissonance cards. Next up is Oppress, is going to again, an energy buff from 44 to 40, that's really it. Just a small buff for that one. This is also, especially since Spectral Burst is also getting that buff. And other than that low, I guess we have two last moves I want to talk about, okay? Electro Burst is the first one, which is also for Ikazune's signature move, which also it doesn't run. Thunderstrike hits harder, so I might as well run it. And Electro Buff has a chance to miss. So then, for the change, there's actually quite a few things I want to do for it. So then, right now, it actually has 75 base power move, and I think it actually has a chance to miss. I'm not too sure, I don't actually have it on my Ikazune. Basically, I want to increase the power from 75 to 85. Right now it is single target use, so it's like Thunderstrike basically. I want it to actually hit all adjacent foes, so both of the opponents, it'll hit both of them like thunder, I guess. And also, if you don't know, it actually has the chance to paralyze and to burn, 10% each. I want to change that as well and give it 15% chance each to burn. So if you land it, it has a 15% chance to burn and a 15% chance to paralyze. I think that'd be a pretty good buff for Electro Burst, and it actually might make it useful in doubles as well, since you don't really see Ikazune in doubles really, because again, Earth is everywhere, so I think that might be a pretty good like buff to it. And other than that low, the last move I want to talk about is Hypnotize. It's way too broken right now. Nothing's immune to it, and that's really it. It's annoying, especially since I guess some of the quicker Loomians get it. I mean, technically Gobademic does get it, and it's kind of annoying, but Gobademic doesn't really do anything with that. So, I mean, it can put you to sleep, but it doesn't do anything to you because it's a Gobademic, it's kind of weak. So, with that being said though, I want to make it so Mind types are now immune to Hypnotize, the same way that Cinemoth's Snorspall's move, which is right here. Whenever I open it up. So basically, for Snorspalls, if you use it against a plant type, it's immune to it. So Snorspalls can hit every other type but plant. Basically, the Hypnotize will be the exact same. it just won't hit mind instead of plants. So I think that's like a good start for like a nerf. Other than that, we could like touch the accuracy a little bit, but I think for now we'll see how that goes, and we'll change it if necessary. So that's basically all of the moves. I don't think I missed any. I did miss like some stats. Right now, the only Loomian that I'm thinking of changing stats on is Volcolo, but I'm not gonna do it in the Sepharite update. I'm gonna probably leave it, see if this update might help it out with the new Loomians coming out. If it doesn't, then sure, I might touch up a little bit by decreasing the range attack and increasing both of its defenses by 20 each. So that's the idea for Volcoloa, not coming in this update though. I don't have plans to change that. So then, that's all the moves. And next up we got like a couple of items and a couple of like extra things, okay? So then, first up I guess for items, heavy shield and heavy armor will be buffed from 20% to 30% boost in defense. So if you don't know, actually what do I have? Obsidian, give me your item. So then if you don't actually know, the heavy shields and the heavy armor, the shield is the range attack version, the armor is the melee defense version. Range defense, melee defense. So basically, it'll increase your whichever defense you're using, depending on what item, by 20%, but it'll cost you like 10% more energy, or maybe a little bit more than that. So basically, it will cost a little bit more energy. With this change, it's basically just going to increase it from 20% to 30%. I think that should be fine. Originally, I was going to buff it to 40%, just double the item, but I think that's 2 goods, so I'm not going to be doing that. So I think for a buff, that'll be like a pretty good buff. It's going to make Obsidian a little bit better, but with like some of the moves like getting buffed a little bit, I think it should be fine. I don't think it'll be like as annoying to beat. 10% isn't really like that much of a difference for Obsidian. Whatever hits it super hard right now will still hit it super hard and deal with it. It's mostly like for other Loomians, really. So that's it for the heavy items. Next up is the Energy Orb, which actually no one uses, really, unless like you have no other item to use, which actually, I don't think I have one of them on me. It's probably in my PC somewhere. I definitely have one, unless I deleted it by accident. Item is holding a Energy Orb. Do I have one? I should have one. Yep, I knew it. Give me that here, man. So then, for the Energy Orb, if you don't know, right now, I think it only decreases energy cost by 10%, which is pathetically low. So, buffing it to 25%, making it actually usable, so hopefully that actually helps. It could be too much. If it is too much, we'll also give it a nerf if it is too good. That's basically the items. Also, those are like the only items in the game. I'm not talking about new items in this video. I could do like a separate video about that if you want me to. Let me know in the comments down below. And with that being said, the extra things, which I think is actually going to be pretty good. So I talked about Hypnosis. That isn't technically the only nerf that we're doing for Hypnosis. It's actually sleep in general. We're actually changing up the sleep status a tiny bit. So for right now, I'll actually read the description I actually gave it. The sleep status when inflicted will last 2 to 3 turns. Typically right now, I think it's the exact same. However, how it works right now is that you are asleep for that amount of turns. And when you wake up, then that's it really, you wake up. And the opponent can basically attack you no matter what. Basically how we're going to do it is, let's say you have 100 health as like on the same turn you got put to sleep. If you lose 1/4 of your health, in this case it'll be 25 of your health or more, you'll actually wake up from your sleep status immediately. So the description I gave it was, the sleep status when inflicted will last 2 to 3 turns. However, when losing 1/4 of its health from when it was put to sleep, it will wake up instantly, unless the move was a self-inflicted, such as Obsidian's Beast Slumber. So Beast Slumber won't let you wake up instantly by taking 1/4 of your health in damage. It'll be mostly like things for like Hypnotize and Snore Spore. So I think they'll be fine. For people wondering, well, that's nerfing it too much. You can still set up on it, but as soon as you like hit it and it does more than 1/4 of its health from when you put it to sleep, that's when it will wake up. So like once, I guess like, no, I was going to say Sorcerer doesn't do it. For Duskit, for example, it can still put the opponent to sleep, it can then set up with Peace of Mind, and then it can use Oppress to hit it on like the last turn it's asleep. So I think it's going to be like a pretty good nerf, I guess, to the sleep status, because it's kind of just annoying right now. So I think that's still fine, completely fine. With that nerf, I'm thinking of like giving Oppress or Duskit's secret ability a slight buff. For now though, just going to see how it rolls, and we might do that after Sepharite. And last but not least, the final thing, which, by the way, this video is pretty long, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for the dogs barking at 1 AM, bro, shut up. The last thing that I want to nerf is Flail, your boy. Also, if you actually don't know, there is a specific, right now, it's not really that much, there's like a small specific, like, niche though that people are doing. And I guess actually, people have noticed it, it's kind of like a bad thing for some Loomians, for example. If you don't know, Desperado can use this Flail tactic to beat Ticlipse. Even though my Desperado can beat a Ticlipse. And you can't even hit it, because also Ticlipse's secret ability absorbs the dark moves and is immune to Spirit because it's a light type. So what you do basically is that you sharpen, you waste all of your energy by reviving to waste it as quick, and then you click Shadow Sprint. You get Flail, which is a typeless move, which basically just bypasses Ticlipse's ability, and it's 60 base power. So instead of having a 40 power Spirit move, I'm getting a typeless 60 power move that's hitting pretty hard. Although, like I said, it's a typeless move. We have a typing in the game called typeless, which is the normal type. So for example, if Luxor were to do that exact same thing, its ability would actually change it from typeless to light. Same thing for Umbra, change it from dark to that. Although some Lumens are actually getting a little bit cheeky with it, and I guess actually Trumbull is a pretty good option because it's actually really, really annoying. And that is actually going to be Quick Pounce. Also basically, if you Quick Pounce, it doesn't check for priority, so you'll still Quick Pounce even if you don't have energy to fund it, and it'll be a priority Flail. Also, like I said, Flail is a typeless move. Trumbull's going to get a stab bonus from that, and Flail hits harder than Quick Pounce. So you can kind of see where I'm going for this, right? When you Quick Pounce with no energy, you're actually buffing your Quick Pounce, but you take a little bit of recoil damage. So yeah, it's kind of busted, so we're actually changing it. Flail will be nerfed from 60 to 40 strength, the same as Quick Pounce. And also, it will lose the typeless typing, and it will actually have 0 type. I'm going to call it type null. Well, it's actually Pokemon. It'll basically be called the null type. So it's just like it has no typing at all. I can't exactly say typeless because that's actually type in the game, but basically it'll be typeless, meaning as in it'll be no typing in the game. It'll be like an own separate unique typing that hits everything for neutral, I guess. So I think that's gonna be a pretty good buff. I actually did forget to mention one thing though, for moves wise, and that's Beast Slumber. It's not really like a nerf or a buff. It's fixing the exploit people are using for it. So if you actually don't know, I forgot to mention OK in the move section because I forgot about it, but I just remembered it because I took the Obsidian's item. If you don't know, if you Beast Slumber, when you are asleep, you heal on Obsidian, obviously. It's meant to be at the end of every turn. It actually isn't though. It's whenever Obsidian uses a move, when it's asleep, it will regain health there. So technically, if you're like full health, you basically just click Primal Slash or Earthquake, so you get hit first, and then you heal up all of that health that you just lost. If you're very low health flow, if you use Wait or Rest, you'll actually heal health before the opponent hits you, which also is an exploit. It's not meant to be like that, so yes, we are buffing it. I mean, not buffing it, we are fixing it and getting rid of that mechanic, so basically, it doesn't matter whatever you use on Obsidian, you will only regain health at the end of the turn, so people can actually use this and exploit, because that is... Basically, if that wasn't a thing for Obsidian, it would be a lot easier to beat it. I actually didn't realize that people are using it against me to do that, so yes, we are fixing that. So Obsidian should be a little bit easier to kill. Also, I don't know what these dogs are barking at, bro. It's like 1 AM, there's nothing going on. Go to sleep! But yeah, with that being said though, that is everything, and no, I'm sorry this is such a long video, but I wanted to go over like everything that I have planned for the updates. Like I said, not everything that I listed might not be in the next update, it might be spread out over a while, just like make sure that we're double checking things to make sure that it's completely fine. I think most of these are fine though, but like I said, let me know in the comments down below what you think for all of these changes. They're mostly like buffs really, except from like just a couple like bug fixes, making sure nothing's too overpowered, but I think that's basically it. Like I said as well, if I want to go over some new items that I have planned for the game, let me know, and also I'll do a video on them. Again, I'm mostly doing these sort of videos to like get feedback, to see what you guys think, to see what you guys like, to see what you guys don't like, and if there's anything that I missed, also feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Whatever you think should be buffed, or what else should be nerfed, let me know. I can look at it. If I think you're dumb, I'm going to ignore you. If I think you're kind of right, then sure, I'll take a quick look at it and see whatever I can do with it. But anyway, that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed 30 minutes of my dogs barking at 1 AM in the morning. Is great. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.